time for The Pet Show with America's favorite pet expert, Warren Eckstein. Warren is the author of How to Get Your Cat to Do What You Want and How to Get Your Dog to Do What You Want. He's here to answer all your pet and animal questions. And now, Warren Eckstein.
Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to The Pet Show. Has your Newfoundland been naughty or nice? Are your Siamese kittens putting out catnip for Santa? Did your terrier pee on the tree? Well, if you love animals, I'm assuming you do, care about wildlife and the environment, and want to really, truly understand your dog or cat's behavior almost as well as they understand yours. If you're confused about their behavior or just want to improve their lifestyle, you know what to do. Stay tuned because once again, right here, right now, it is time for The Pet Show. America's first and only real pet psychology, pet training, pet behavior, and of course, pet lifestyle show. So hop up on my couch. Bring those furry little buddies with you, folks, because it is that time once again to let the animal analyzing begin. Hello, everybody. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show, the place where we absolutely, positively, never a doubt about it, love, adore, and as I stress every single week, respect pets and animals as much as you do. By the way, if you want to join me on the ever-growing Pet Show family, if you want to brag a little bit about your dog or a cat, or you want to ask me a question about their behavior, their jumping, their humping, their digging, their scratching, their peeing all over the house, your cat scratched your favorite chair, refuses to use the litter box, hates the new cat that came in the house, you can't date because your dog doesn't like people coming in, you get the idea. If you have a question about your dog or cat's behavior, great time to give me a call. And by the way, if you happen to be new to The Pet Show, welcome. Or a regular listener to The Pet Show, welcome also. Everyone that calls into the show today and gets to speak to me live on the air will in fact be getting an absolutely amazing, fabulous gift, and I am in a giveaway mood on this holiday weekend. So everyone that calls in and gets to talk to me live will get a great gift for their dog or cat. And it's not like I give away biscuits here, folks. Many of the items I give away on The Pet Show are worth $25, $35, $45, or even $50. So if you have a question or a comment about your dog or cat, or just want to tell some cute stories about situations you've encountered with your dogs and cats over the holidays, or if you want to call me up and tell me what if your dog or cat isn't listening and you want to tell me what you're getting your dog or cat for Christmas, I'd love to hear from you as well. Again, great time to give me a call. The phone lines are open. If you have a question or a comment, want to share a great story, do you remember any childhood experiences around the holidays with your pets, I'd love to hear from you. If I have time, I got some really special announcements to make on today's show as well. But if I have time later, someone asked me the other day, what is my most memorable Christmas? And if I have time, I'll talk about it a little bit later. It was a very special Christmas. I was overseas. Well, we'll talk about that later if we have time. But also, I got some great announcements to make. Let me give you the phone number first. 866-870-KRLA. 866-870-KRLA. If you prefer numbers, you can give me a call right now at 866-870-5752. 866-870-5752. Plenty of time for your calls. As I said, lots of pretty amazing stuff to give away, and you're not going to want to go anywhere. I got some pretty important announcements to make. First of all, I haven't seen you in I don't know how many years. I haven't been out in public, and how many I've been out in public. I haven't been did a remote or an appearance in a long time. Well, stay tuned, folks. You may be seeing me sooner than you think. The phone number here, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Let me tell you what I have planned for today's show, although you should know by now that there's a good possibility I'm not going to get to all my topics because your questions, your comments, your stories are always my priority. So if you have a question or a comment, 866-870-5752. But here's what I'd like to get to on the show if we have time today. And this really was a question that someone emailed me on my YouTube channel. They said, Warren, so I decided to bring it up today. Have you ever noticed, I mean, really, take a think deep. Have you ever noticed that when you get up from your chair or you get up from your bed, that your dog or cat immediately takes over your spot? Just happened to me this morning. I was sitting on the couch watching the news. I got up to get a cup of coffee. I came back. Molly and Willie totally took over my spot. So I could have moved them, but again, I just set somewhere else. So that's the question. And the kind of question, I'm going to tell you why. Have you ever noticed that your dog or cat just takes over exactly where you've been sitting or lying down? I got the answer coming up in a little bit, and it may surprise you as well. Also, for my feline lovers out there, I adore cats. I'm one of the few people that have been on the cat side for years and years and years. Our cats, to like people, our cats, it's a funny story, but it's true. Our cats appear to like people with personalities similar to their own. Let me say that again. Our cats appear to like people with personalities similar to their own. So how can you tell who your cat's favorite people are? And also, cats bond just as closely with their guardians as dogs do. They just don't do it, and they just don't do it the same way. They actually do it on their own terms. So stay tuned. We're going to talk about that as well. Our cats appear to like people with personalities similar to their own. I'm sure there's a lot of stories about that out there as well. Also, have you ever just kind of watched your dog, noticed your dog licking their lips constantly? Lick, 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 lick. Why do they do that? And could it be a more serious issue? So if you have a dog that's licking constantly, especially their lips, we'll talk about that coming up as well. Also, if we have time, I want to take a look at adopting, especially during the holiday season, adopting or fostering an older dog, what you need to know. There are some things you need to know, but I got to tell you, there is nothing more rewarding than adopting or fostering an older dog or a cat. Also, coming up on today's show, I do it every year and have been for the last 43 years, I believe. I'll be doing my annual reading of the poem Christmas Returns. And if you want to take a look at it, you can go to my website, thepetshow.com, or Facebook and check out my Christmas corner. All my poems and all the poems people have sent me in the last 40 some odd years are there as well. But later on, I will be reading my annual reading of the poem Christmas Returns. Plenty of time for all of your questions and comments. As I said, lots of pretty amazing stuff to give away. So if your pet is jumping, chewing, scratching, confused about the litter box, maybe that puppy you rescued isn't housebroken, maybe a dog doesn't get along with other dogs or humps everything he sees, give me a call. Again, the phone number, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. That is the way to get through. The question of the day is, am I the only one that notices this, or do your dogs and cats immediately take over where you've been sitting or lying down? Give me a call. Let me know. If we get through, I will send you a super gift. Again, the phone number, 866-870-5752, 866-870-5752. That is the way to get through. Also, I received an email this week, or a text. I get confused between the two of them. I'm old school. From someone whose dogs I trained in 1970, 866-870-5752. That is the way to get through. Now, come on. I'm not the only one. The minute you get up, does your dog or cat take over your chair or take over your bed? If you get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, and we all do, especially when we get older, does your dog automatically, your cat automatically assume, well, it's fair. He got up, she got up, go to the John, I'm taking over the space. Why do they do that? We'll talk about that coming up a little bit later. As I said, plenty of time for your calls, lots of pretty amazing stuff to give away as well. The phones are getting busy. I'm going to get to a lot of calls, but I want to, let me start out with this, okay? A lot of people ask me, wow, well, how long you been doing? Let me just start out by reading this email that I got this week from a listener, actually not a listener, it's someone whose dog I trained many years ago. Here's how it started. Hey, Warren, you probably don't remember me. You worked on training me to train my St. Bernard, Hebzibah, and my Rottweiler, Klug, on Long Island shortly after you came home from overseas. So it had to be 1971. I still smile every time I think of how Hezbollah, the St. Bernard, would follow your commands when she would hear you on TV. Many times that we're demonstrating on TV, the dog would hear me and respond at home. You said to me, it's the kind of guy I am, you said to me, you had never met anyone with as little control over animals as me. Hopefully, Warren, I've gotten better over the years. Your video on helping a grieving cat couldn't have been more timely. We lost her brother in October and our German pinscher a week ago last Friday, and the following week, 1 week tomorrow, my husband, who she was with all day long, had a stroke, is in the hospital. What a devastating time for that. Your distraction therapy has helped, so thank you. Keep up the good work. Kind regards, Louise Kurt. I guess her name was back then. Now it's Louise Schmidt. These are the things I cherish, and people say, do you know, and I wrote back to her, I don't remember her, but I certainly remember the dogs, and it just made me smile this weekend, made me think about it. Prayers, thoughts for you, Louise, and I hope everything turns out okay, and give your husband and your pets a big hug and a kiss for me. All right, so it just makes me think back. I got out, I guess I came home 1970, 1971. Let my hair grow. It was in a ponytail. Had no clothes. Wore my Army fatigue shirts, my Air Force fatigue shirts. That's all I had left. And I started training dogs and working with people. And I guess Hezbollah, the St. Bernard, was one of them. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number, 866-870-5752. Geez, 1971. How old are you, Warren? Let me do this. Let me take a quick phone call, then I'll take a break, and then we'll get back to all your other calls. Let me start out in Tustin with Heather. Hey, Heather, welcome to the Pet Show.
Hi, it's good to talk to you.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I have a quick question about cats.
Yeah, good.
Okay, so this cat is not like any other cats we've had before.
Yeah, that's the first time I ever heard that my cat's so different than every other cat
They're so different, all their personalities. So this guy, he's huge. He's like a mountain lion. He's our little bobcat. But when we sit down on the couch, he jumps up and licks and bites and chews my husband's hair every time, like he's grooming him.
Yeah.
So what is that, and how do we stop that?
Well, he is. He's associating your husband, and he's doing that as a very positive thing. So, and it may be annoying to your husband. It's like if you went over and hugged your husband, he said, "Get away from me, Heather. I don't want you to hug me." How would you feel? So, it's something you can't really deal with in terms of correcting the cat from doing it. You could shave your husband's head, I guess. That might work. If he has no hair on his head, the cat's not going to go there. There are things you may want to try. For example, does he do it all the time? Was it pretty inconsistent?
No, it's pretty consistent.
Okay, so in other words, when your husband sits down, what's your cat's name, by the way?
I'm sorry, what?
What's your cat's name?
Oh, Carl.
So I love the name. So when when your husband sits down, Carl jumps up on the couch, goes to your husband's hair, and start kind of kneading and chewing on it.
Absolutely, almost every time.
Okay, so what I would
it's his favorite place to be.
And it's a sign of confidence in your husband. It's a good thing. So, but how do we stop it? That's the question.
Yep.
Okay. What I would try to do is find one specific item that the cat absolutely cannot live without. This is Carl's life. Carl cannot live without this one toy. But the only time he gets that one toy is when your husband sits down. This way he associates your husband sitting down, and we're going to distract him. See, we can't correct him because he's not doing anything wrong. In his mind, he's doing the right thing. He's grooming your husband. He loves your husband. He adores your husband. Saying no is devastating to Carl, but distracting Carl and distracting him a little bit, that's definitely the way to go. That's what I would be doing at this point.
Got it. Okay.
And so you don't have to shave your husband's head, huh?
No, I think I'd rather distract the cat.
There you go. So anyway, Heather, what type of cat did you say it was? I know you said it was a big cat, but what breed of cat is it? Do you know?
Yeah. He's a rescue, so orange tabby cat rescue, but
they're my favorites.
He's one of our biggest cats.
Well, you give him a big hug and a kiss me. I'm going to put you on hold, and I am going to send you for your cat. I'm going to send you some Lucy pet food for your cat. Follow what I suggested. Again, but I hope you understand what I was saying. That it's like telling someone that goes to hug you or shake your hand, don't leave me alone, because from your cat's perspective, he's doing something positive. Let me take a quick break. The phones are jammed up. When we come back, we got Howard in North Hollywood. We got Malaya in Lancaster, Antoinette in Los Angeles, Mary calling from Michigan. I'm going to get to all your calls, I promise. 866-870-KRLA. But let me take you out Lucy Pet. Where's my mouth today? KRLA. I'm getting right back to the phones and all your calls. Any New Yorkers out there, or ex-New Yorkers, you never know by my accent that I'm originally from New York, but I am. This is something I've been aware of for a lot of years. I don't think there's anything like it in Los Angeles or Southern California. But in Central Park in New York, for any New Yorkers out there, there's a secret pet memorial Christmas tree in Central Park. It's deep within the woods of Central Park. Those in the know gather there every December at a secret spot to pay their respects to long-lost pets. Most people have no idea it exists. The branches of the tree, of the secret Christmas tree in Central Park, they're filled with homemade items and memorials dedicated to lost pets, dog or cat, other animals as well. It's a great idea. I mean, these are where people can go and they can talk about pets they've lived with in the past. So this secret pet memorial Christmas tree in Central Park, maybe we need to do something like that here in Los Angeles as well. I think it's a great idea. I've been there, but I think even 99% of New Yorkers have no idea about this secret pet memorial Christmas tree in Central Park. Let me go to Howard in West Hollywood. Hey, Howard, welcome to the Pet Show.
Hi, Dr. Eckstein. Question on cats. Do they have to be housebroken like dogs, or do they have some sort of instinct to use the litter box?
Cats have an instinct to pee and poop on sand or dirt. So very often it's real easy. You just put down the litter box and they instinctively go over to it because that in the house represents sand or dirt to them. I mean, some cats can be more difficult, but for the most part, once they see an area with catnip in it, as long as you're using a good quality catnip, not something that really, really smells bad, there should be no problem having the cat instinctively go over and start using the litter box.
Okay, because our cat usually is in the backyard and we let her in to eat in the kitchen, but during the rainstorm, we let her in for like 3 days, and she pooped and peed all over. But you think if we put a sandbox in there, she'll use it then, huh?
Well, no, not in your case. If your cat is generally used to going outside on the dirt and grass, and first of all, I prefer you keep the cat inside, but that's your option. The bottom line is what I would recommend that you do in the rainy weather, I would bring her inside, but in the litter box, what I would do is I would put some dirt and grass from outside. That's where she's used to going. You can add some litter to the bottom of that and eventually get her rid of the dirt and grass. But right now, the easiest way to get the cat to use a litter box is bring some dirt and grass, put that in a litter box inside the house, and that ought to help you out a lot.
Gotcha. That's a great idea. I appreciate that.
But Howard, also, I want you to keep in mind that it's very, very dangerous for cats to be outside, but even more so in the rain. Their instincts don't kick in. Their sense of smell doesn't work the same way. Their hearing doesn't work the same way. The areas they know change because of the different smells in the rain. So you might want to consider keeping the cat inside, but that's your option. But if you do, I'm going to put you on hold and I'm going to send you a copy of how to get your cat to do what you want. That'll tell you how to make that transition if that's what you want to do. Great question, by the way. But cats are instinctively, they like to go on sand or dirt or something where they can cover up. But that's why so many cats are so easily trained to use a litter box. Great call, by the way. I'm running out of breath here. 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. The phones are jam-packed, but before I take another phone call, and I will promise to get to all your calls, let me do this. It has been many, many, many moons since I made an appearance in Southern California. But I want you to listen to me carefully. Coming up on Saturday, January 27th, write this date down. It's going to be a crazy day out there. Saturday, January 27th, from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m., I will be broadcasting the Pet Show and my national Radio America Armed Forces Radio Pet Show. I'll be broadcasting live from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Tarzana. It's the grand opening of Teresa's Country Feed and Pet. I used to broadcast there when it was Red Barn, when my good friend Phil owned it. Then there was a change and I stopped broadcasting there. But it's now a brand new place, a grand opening with my good friends over Teresa's Country Feed and Pet. They'll be opening up. It's actually at 18601 West Oxnard Street in Tarzana. You'll hear me talk more about it, but listen to what's going on that day. Not only will I be broadcasting, my friends from Wagmore Pets will be there with their dog rescue, with dog adoptions. There'll be all kinds of vendors giving away free stuff, bounce houses for the kids, raffles, great samples, and my friends at Lucy Pet via the Lucy Pet Foundation will have an absolutely free vaccination clinic that day right there on the premises. And if that wasn't enough, Lucy is going to be bringing down their pet wave machine. If you've never seen it, you can bring your dog with you. I urge you to bring your dog with you. You can get your dog surfing on their wave machine. You saw it in the Rose Bowl a few years ago. I still think it has a record for the longest float ever. So we're going to have the Lucy Pet Wave Machine, free vaccination clinic, dog adoptions with Wagmore Pets, vendors, bounce houses. And besides all that, I will be broadcasting this show as well as my international show right from Teresa's Country Feeding Pet in Tarzana. That's Saturday, January 27th. Mark that date down. And of course, your dogs are welcome. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number, 866-870-5752. That is the way to get through. Let me do this. Let me take a break, not to rush anyone. When we come back, God, it's going to be a tough question. We got Malia, we got Antoinette, we got Mary, we got Kathleen, we got Neil calling from Venice. We're going to get to all your calls. I got one line open, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. This is the season. I'm so excited. It's going to be an incredible, incredible holiday season. It's just one of those, I usually don't get so excited around the holidays, but this year, for some reason, I seem to be really more excited than ever before. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to continue talking to you all. Again, the phone number, 866-870-KRLA. And God, no one's called with this yet? No one? Where are you guys? Come on now. When you get up from your chair or you get out of bed, does your dog or cat not take over where you were? Immediately when I get up, Molly and Willie are on top of exactly where I was. Do your pets do the same thing? Give me a call. Let me know. I'll send you a great gift. 866-870-KRLA. Let me take a quick break. We'll get right back to all your calls after this. Listen. You know you're smiling now listening to my music here. Hey, we're back on the Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. Phone number 866-870-KRLA. Going to go right back to the phones. But speaking of cats, they may show it differently, but cats bond just as closely with humans as dogs do. How can you tell who your cat's favorite person is? That slow blink that they give where they partially close their eyes and then maybe look to the side. If they're bunting you with their head, when cats rub their heads on faces on a person, which is a way for the animal to rub their pheromones over that person, that means they like them. If the cat spends most of their time with you, they like you. If the cat is excited to see you after you're apart, the cat likes you. Cats also tend to like people with personalities similar to their own, so a playful cat might like a playful human, while a more laid-back cat should be drawn to a more relaxed person. There's no doubt in my mind, having worked with as many thousands of cats as I've worked with, cats definitely do like people with similar personalities. As a matter of fact, very often, cats do take on the personalities of the people they live with. 866-870-KRLA, that is the phone number. Let me go to Malia in Lancaster. Hey, Malia, welcome to the Pet Show.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing fine. How about yourself?
Okay, I got 7 animals from the shelter from 1 to 10 years old, and they're cats and dogs. But I'm trying to find a rhythm for them all to eat and drink and then use the toilet. And I'm kind of old, and it tires me out. It takes me about an hour and a half. And I was wondering, do you know how to put it so that there's a rhythm the cats and dogs file to eat, and then I can just relax?
I'm a little confused. Okay, so you have 7, bless you for rescuing 7 pets. So you have 7 pets, some are cats, some are dogs. I'm a little confused by the question. Your question to me is that they're eating, how to feed them at the same time? Is that it, or?
Yeah, because it just tires me out. It takes me so long to feed the cats and dogs and make them go to the toilet. Some don't want to eat.
Here's what I would recommend that you do, okay? If you can, maybe if you can find someone to help you, obviously that's the way to go. And I just adore you for adopting all those animals, but I wish I had a better answer for you. You might want to try some self-feeding. You can buy some of the self-feeding, where the automatic feeders. That might be beneficial for you as well. However, with that many animals, you might have one animal that eats like crazy, another animal that doesn't, so that can be confusing as well. It's a difficult one. I mean, what I would try to do is if you can, feed them at the same time. But automatic feeders, I hope someone has a better answer than I have. With 7 animals, how can you feed them knowing that one may be more of a glutton than the other one? So that's a difficult question to resolve. But what I would recommend that you do, can you feed them in shifts perhaps? Maybe can you feed some of them at 4 o'clock and others maybe at 5:30?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I do feed them all at once, and then just little at a time, and then again little at a time for a second feeding. But then sometimes they like to have snacks, and that's kind of, I want to regulate so that they don't get too heavy.
Yeah, well, listen, that as smart as our dogs and cats are, they haven't learned yet to go to the supermarket and buy treats. They haven't learned yet how to give themselves treats. So what I would recommend that you do is, if you don't want them to get too fat, use some healthy treats. Maybe cut up some carrots, maybe a little watermelon, something like that, versus some of the treats that are on the market. It's healthy for them. Plus the fact that giving them a little carrot, I got my dogs convinced that carrots are made out of liver, but giving them a little carrot, what they do, it helps clean the teeth at the same time. So that's what I would recommend. In terms of an easy way, the only way that I can see, and it would be real expensive, you have to buy like a bunch of different automatic feeders, but other than that, with that many animals, it seems like you're doing okay. You're feeding them at the right time. But if the question to me is you don't want them to get too fat, then probably the best approach is to give them something like carrots or a little watermelon. Great question. And what made you decide on saving so many animals? Have you always been this much of an animal lover, Malia?
Yes, but I figured that nobody else was doing that much to help them where I'm at, so I wanted to help some of them.
Well, God bless you. And listen, I hope you continue doing what you're doing. I wish I had a better answer for you, but with seven rescued animals, there's no specific easy answer for me to say this is how you get them all eat at the same time. I've had as many as 30 at a time, but I didn't have that scenario. I would feed them, they would eat, I would take them outside, they would do what they had to do, and I'd bring them back in. So it's a tough one, but what you're doing, you have a heart of gold, and I just adore you for rescuing these animals, knowing that perhaps no one else was going to take them. So let me do this. Let me at least do this, put you on hold and send you some Lucy pet food for them. It's very rare that you hear me say that I don't have a specific answer, but that's a pretty tough one. So if someone out there has a better answer, please give me a call. 7 animals. She seems like she's alone, a little bit older. It's kind of a difficult situation, but it seems like she's getting it done, and that's what's important. Her heart is as big as her soul, and she's helping all these animals. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number, 866-870-5752. That is the way to get through. Lots of time for your calls. We'll get to Antoinette, Mary, Kathleen, and Neil. Again, mark this date down. It's coming up on I know it's a ways off, but, time goes pretty fast here. And coming up on January 27th, I'll be broadcasting live from Teresa's Country Feed and Pet in Tarzana on Oxnard Street. It used to be called Red Barn. I used to broadcast from there, but then there was a change of ownership. Now it's back to my friends at Teresa's, and I'm thrilled to be there. The Lucy Wave Machine will be there. Wagmore Pets will be there with adoption. Lots of free stuff. Vendors, bounce house, bring your kids. I'll be there. And one of the advantages I have when I do these out appearances is lots of times, as you heard, it's difficult to answer a long question on the radio. I haven't so much time before Alex cuts me off. So the bottom line is, at least at these appearances, if you have questions, I can spend a lot more time, and I will be there answering all of your pet and animal questions. So mark that down, January 27th in Tarzana at Teresa's Country Feed and Pet. Now, I haven't been there yet. I'm looking forward to going there. They did a whole redo, and the place looks pretty amazing. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number. The question of the day is, I'm surprised I'm not getting a response to this one. Did your dog or cat take over your spot as soon as you get up? Am I the only one who has this scenario? How many times do people call me up and say, Warren, I get out of bed, I can't get back in after using the bathroom at night because the dog will growl at me, won't let me back in the bed? How many people out there have dogs and cats that take over their spot as soon as they get up? I'd love to hear from you. Give me a call. I'll send you a great gift. 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. That is the way to get through. Let me do this. Let me take a quick phone call before we break. Let me go to Antoinette. Hey, Antoinette, welcome to the Pet Show.
Hello, how are you?
I am doing fabulous. How about yourself?
Good. I have a cat.
Yeah.
Siamese cat, 7 years old, and I'm having maybe a medical problem and maybe not. My cat has a poop problem that is very soft, and she eats a lot, and I give her dry food. And
well, how long has her stool been loose like this?
This has been about a month.
Well, no, you need to have her checked by the vet. Even if you just bring a stool specimen in at this point, in other words, there's always a reason for a change. Sometimes it's just an upset stomach, could last a day or two. My dogs get them too. But the bottom line is, when you have a change in the poop of your dog or your cat that's going on for a month, you have to have that medically checked. There may be some medical reason for it, maybe not, but that's something you would have checked at this point. So I would check with your vet. Maybe it's the type of food you're feeding her. Is there anything different in your household? Any person move in, new furniture, anything like that may have stressed your cat out as well?
No, that's the problem. I just can't seem to get this diet controlled. She eats dry food, and she eats a lot.
Yeah, but how old is your cat?
7 years old.
Okay, so she's been eating with you for 7 years, and this is just a recent problem. So in other words, I'm assuming the food you've been feeding her is kind of similar. So all of a sudden, the food may be part of it, but there may be something else going on. At 7 years old, I would have a conference call with your vet, maybe take a stool specimen and see what's going on there.
Yes, I think that would be possible, but I can't afford to do that. That's why I'm calling you to see if I have a diet reason. I was going to give her some pumpkin.
That's all great, and that's all fine, that's all dandy, but if there's a medical issue, you need to find out what the medical issue is. Maybe it's something that some antibiotics can take care of right away. You need to find out what's causing this medically. Yes. So here's the bottom line. My background is behavior. You need to see a vet, or at least contact a vet. If you can't afford it, what you can do, if you have access to the internet, you can go to my website, thepetshow.com. On the front page is a list of ways you can save money at veterinarians. So you might want to check that out. Go to thepetshow.com and check that out. In the meantime, what I'll do is I'll put you on hold, and I'm going to send you some Lucy pet food because it's probably the best food on the market as far as I'm concerned. But I want you to remember, I want you to take the cat to the vet, get the stool specimen checked, and let's find out what's going on there. It's critical. Hey, I do have an open line, actually 2 open lines. Pretty rare here at the Pet Show. So it's a great time to give me a call. I have hugs and kisses for cats to give away. I have Arthrosuit Gold. I have copies of my best-selling books. I have hemp seed oil, Lucy pet food. You just heard me give some away. All natural herbal flea sprays. Those T-shirts that say none of my friends walk upright. Great stuff from Nature Vet. Also, as I said, copies of my best-selling book, either How to Get Your Dog or How to Get Your Cat to Do What You Want. So everyone that calls in gets to talk to me live on the air will in fact get a fabulous gift for their dog or cat. The phone number here, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Let me take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get to Mary, Kathleen, and Neil. Again, that number, 866-870-5752. I'm shocked. Porky singing some holiday songs. We are back on the Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. Great time to give me a call. The phone number 866-870-KRLA. Mary, I will get to you. Kathleen, I will get to you. Neil and David, I'll get to you guys as well. Just be patient with me. You know, the last call I got from the woman who called up with the cat that had loose stool, and she was complaining about veterinary costs. I just received this week from a consumer organization. Let me just share this with you. The way it opens up is barking. Vet practices are confusing customers. Vet practices are confusing customers with unclear prices by bumping up the bills with unnecessary treatments, this according to an investigation. The findings come as hundreds of traditional veterinary practices have been taken over by private equity firms and big corporations in recent years. The rapid consolidation has sparked a competition watchdog probe into whether it has resulted in higher prices and lack of choice for customers. A survey by the group found 73% of pet owners thought vet consultation fees were too expensive, and 82% said the treatments and medications cost a lot. Now, I've spoken to veterinarians about this, and their prices and their costs have gone up an awful lot too. But it's kind of interesting. Do you remember when I was growing up, I grew up in a small town on Long Island called Oceanside. I think the population was 25, 30,000, who knows. Anyway, the reason I bring that up is we all went to Oceanside Animal Hospital. Alan Ahern was the vet there, and we became good friends, and I knew him since I was a kid, and you knew your vet, and it was his animal hospital. He had other vet working there for him. But recently, a lot of the veterinary hospitals are part of large corporations and investment people. And I don't know if that's making a difference, but according to the survey, that's why the prices are so high. And and I get this call all the time, so I don't know what's going to happen. But I hope people still continue. There are ways to save money. And if you go to my website, thepetshow.com, on the front page, there are ways you can save money in veterinary costs there as well. Let me go to Mary in Michigan. Hi, Mary in Michigan. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good. I wanted to talk to you about a feral cat that I have. Well, she's kind of like semi-feral. I found her in a wooded area. I thought she was dead. She was about a year old at the time. Brought her home and took her to the vet. It turned out she was sick, and after quite a few months, I finally, nursed her kind of back to health. And let me first back up, sorry. As she was getting better, it became very apparent that she was a feral cat. I thought like she was a lost pet, but she started biting and, hissing at me. She didn't meow, she didn't purr, so, I realized then that she was feral.
What's your specific question? I don't want to run out of time on you.
Okay, well, at this point, for the past 7 years, I've had her upstairs in a bedroom, and I also have a cat downstairs, and I have a parrot downstairs. Okay, so I have her upstairs to keep her separated. Now, I've worked with her on and off to, so she was, getting used to me touching her and that type of thing. All right, I had an injury, and I have to have an operation. They're not going to be able to do it until like August probably, and I'm having trouble getting up and down my stairs. I want to bring her downstairs, but the only room I have is a very, very small bathroom, and that just doesn't seem right to put her in that small of an area. So I have two very large dog cages. I wanted to kind of hook those together to give her a bunch of space. So
yeah, but she's going from a room to a cage is going to be pretty traumatic for this cat. She's been living by herself upstairs for 7 years, right? Is that what you said? 7 years?
Yeah.
I think the small bathroom with the gate and a door. I think that's probably better than putting her in a cage at this point.
Okay, but I mean. There's really, it's very, very small.
Is there anyone else that you can? Listen, Mary, let me do this. Mary, I got to take a break, but I don't want to run out of time. I don't want to scoot your question because it's a great question. So let me do this. Alex, can you have Steve give Mary the phone number for the national show? Mary, call me on the national show at 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, whatever time you call. I don't know where you're calling from, Michigan. So call me on the national show. We'll give you that number. I want to spend more time with you, and I appreciate that phone call. But we'll give you that number right now. So I'm going to put you on hold. We'll get that number to you. A quick break, then right back to your calls. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show. And we are back on the Pet Show. We're going to have to break for the top of the hour. When we come back, the phones are jamming. I got Neil up there. I got David up there. Rashida up there. Kathleen up there. My good friend, Dr. Alan Schulman, I see he's calling in with a comment. I can't wait to talk to you, Dr. Schulman, one of the top veterinarians here in Southern California. A great guy. I've known him for years. I want to get his comments, so we'll take him first when we come back after we break for the news. The phone number, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Quick break, then right back at all your calls. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show.
Warren Eckstein, the man for your pets. We tried to stumble, but we haven't yet. Your dog is barking, your cat missed the box. Your ferret's chewed up all your favorite socks. He sure knows how to get inside your pet's head. But maybe it's you who needs to be trained instead.
And welcome back to the second hour of the Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. If you have questions or comments about your pets, great time to give me a call. The phone number here, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. I guess you guys are embarrassed to admit it. I know that as soon as I get up from a chair, Molly and Willie are there. As soon as I get out of bed, Molly and Willie are on my spot. How many people out there have dogs and cats that will take their spot immediately as soon as they get up? Give me a call, let me know. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number. All right, the phones are jam-packed. I want to get right to the phone lines here. I see that my friend Dr. Alan Schulman is calling, a great veterinarian. I've known Dr. Schulman for many years. Alan, how are you doing today?
I am doing fine. Thank you so much for that incredible introduction. And I think it suffices to say that every one of your listeners knows how intelligent and rational you have been over years and years and years with the incredible, accurate advice that you consistently give them. So, right back at you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Listen, I was calling in because hearing about the woman whose cat had loose feces for a month, you're spot on. As much as it's tough, realistically, that cat needs, as a minimum database, an exam, a fecal, probably a blood test, and maybe even a survey X-ray in order to be able to put her back on the right track and get that cat back to doing as well as possible. The concerns financially certainly are mirrored by what you said after that call with regards to the phenomenal influx of corporate veterinary medicine into what was once private practice and the influence that it has on prices and availability. It's tough because you grew up in Oceanside. I grew up in Little Neck. We had our local veterinarian, Dr. Farber, and that's who you went to.
I knew. It's funny you said that. I knew Dr. Farber. It's funny you said that.
Yeah, but it truly is. We're reminiscing about the good old days because we don't have that anymore. And I think that's a tremendous problem for the veterinary industry as a whole. What I know I could say is that if somebody is going to be having some financial issues with regards to veterinary care, you got to find an older veterinarian who remembers those days and knew how to cater to his clients appropriately. And that it's not all about money. It's about taking care of the animals appropriately. But again, you really have to search that out. And the issue here is that, veterinarians in our age group, they don't have any options for what do they do at the end of their careers, because this younger generation of veterinarians doesn't want to work that hard, doesn't want to put in that effort. And so they look at a big successful practice and freak out over what it's going to take to go ahead and to run that. And they're much happier being a small cog in a big wheel than being an independent practice.
It's interesting that you say that. Years ago, when I was doing the behavior work for the Animal Medical Center in New York, there were a lot of New York vets that I worked with. And when I saw the vets that were going to the AMC out of, either coming from Cornell or wherever they were coming from, they would apprentice with one of the established vets in New York City, Long Island, Queens, whatever. And their goal was to open their own practice with their own name, practicing veterinary care the way they wanted to practice. And they basically didn't have to answer to anyone but themselves. And the compassion was there. What I get from listeners nowadays, both on this show, Alan, and the network show, is they don't feel that same compassion, that same determination. They go to the vet, and the most important part of going to the veterinarian, as far as I'm concerned, is making the consumer comfortable. They're already stressed. They're already anxious bringing their dog or cat to the vet. They're stressed out. Their pet is stressed out. So if the situation at the hospital isn't somewhat calming, a little bit mellow, that I think causes a lot of the restraint on people wanting to go to the vet as often as they really should to keep their pets healthy.
Listen, I agree with you, but again, we're reminiscing. I mean, I grew up reading every single James Herriot book that there was.
There you go.
And, you had these independent practitioners that it was all about the animals. And if you treat the animals appropriately, you're going to be successful financially because you're taking care of everybody in that manner. But like you said, I grew up, you get hired by a veterinary practice, and you can't wait for the day that the owner says, hey, you know what? You're pretty good. What are your plans? You want to be a partner? You want to do that? These kids today don't even ask. They don't even ask. They have their mythical work-life balance sort of a deal, and I agree. I think some of the compassion's gone, and they don't look at it as a compassionate profession. They look at it as just a profession. And they, the ones that I see working nowadays, not all of them, but a number of them, they want to see 6 to 8 people a day, and for me, that's a good hour and a half. But if you're gonna see 6 to 8 people a day, there is no way you would be able to own your own practice and survive. You'd fail in a month and a half. But they're not driven by being there consistently for all of their clients. And I know this is a tough thing for many people to hear, but there has been a generational shift, and that's what you're seeing now. Because the only exit strategy for veterinarians that have had these sorts of compassionate practices for 40 years is a corporate group. Because nobody else, this younger generation, is not stepping up and buying those practices to continue to practice in that manner. And that's what I see as a major problem.
Hopefully, maybe we'll see some type of reversal. There are some younger vets that I deal with around the country and I deal with vets in the military that still have that passion, and I hope they don't lose it. But I know exactly what you're saying. It's a whole different ballgame. Even with behaviorists, when I started out, it was me. How many were there? You remember? Yeah. And now the hardest thing to find is someone who's not a professional animal person. You can't find them. They're just all over the place. So I'm so glad that you called. I want to have you on the air in a couple of weeks. We'll talk about going into a lot more depth. I think you answered a lot of questions that a lot of people have in terms of why so many of these practices are going in terms of the corporate mentality. Even the dog food companies, a lot of these dog food companies, one of the reasons I recommend the dog food company that I do is because I can call him right now and speak to the owner of the company, the CEO. I can go to their plant right here in Irwindale and see how the food's made. They have their own laboratory. They spent $1.5 million. Yet every day I get calls, letters, and emails texting me about there was just another one yesterday, dog food recalls, cat food recalls, cat food recalls. So people are a bit confused when it comes to the care of the pets, and it travels right to the veterinary industry as well.
No, I agree. I give my number out to a number of clients, and they're astounded that they're like, what, you mean I could call you if you're not in the hospital? But they look at me as if I'm a dinosaur, because nobody is doing that. Nobody is taking that extra step for that sort of personal touch and compassion. And that's what you have to look for in a veterinarian. Great. You really, really do.
You're right. It's like the same people that look at me kind of weird when I say, you know what, I never used an electronic collar to train a dog in my life, and they were all pretty well trained back then,
Well, listen, I just wanted to chime in with my 2 cents of what part of the problem is, but keep up the good work because, every time I listen, you're giving out such rational, intelligent advice to your listeners, and you're to be commended for that. And I'll look forward to touching base with you on some other subjects at your convenience.
Looking forward. We'll get together soon. I appreciate the phone call. You have a great holiday.
You too.
Take care. Bye-bye now. Uh-huh. What a great guy he is. I've known Dr. Schulman for years, and top orthopedic surgeon probably in the country. What a great guy. I'm so glad that he called in, and because I get a lot of calls. You guys call me about that all the time. Why veterinary is changing. I used to go to Dr. Sam or Dr. Harry or Dr. K or Dr. L or Dr. G or Dr. Y. Now I'm going to some corporate animal hospital. Great call, by the way. I really appreciate it, Dr. Schulman. Hey, the phone number here, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Let me get back back to work here, and I am going to take a call first from Kathleen, then we're going to go to Neil, David, and Rashida. Right now, Kathleen's calling me all the way from beautiful Connecticut. Hey, Kathleen, welcome to the Pet Show.
Hi, thank you so much. I used to live in LA, so anyway,
a lot of people seems like used to live in LA.
Yeah, well, if you're from the Northeast, you got to move back here.
You know, I grew up on Long Island. I got to admit that there's a part of me that misses the craziness of New York, and I misses the craziness of the Triborough Bridge and the tunnels. But you know what? I'm pretty happy here in Santa Monica at the moment.
Yeah, well, I know. It's fun, but anyway, so I adopted 8 weeks ago a little DNA Shih Tzu, Poodle, Beaver Terrier, and Yorkshire Terrier combination.
A blended breed. A blended breed.
A blended, yes. And he's adorable. I got him from this horrible place who told me he was a multi-poo. Obviously, he's not a multi-poo. He has separation anxiety like I have never, ever seen. If I go to another room and he can see me through the French glass doors, he cries. He barks.
Let me just stop you for a second. How old is the dog?
He is 6 months old now.
And where was he for 6 months?
I've had him for 3.
Okay,
and,
so
I've had him for 2.5. And
where did he come? No, where did he come from? Did he come from a pet store or a rescue? Where did the dog come from?
He came from a backyard fraud breeder.
Okay.
And I think that he brings these dogs up from Texas and tells people that this is a this or this is a that, and he's a fraud. I've reported him to Senator Blumenthal, but I'm still waiting because I want to take this guy down. He is so evil.
Yeah, no, you're right. But let's take you taking him down. I agree with you 100%. I've been involved with bad breeders for years. But let's talk about your separation anxiety. Let me do this.
Yeah.
Let me take a quick break. I'm going to come right back to your call. We'll talk about separation anxiety. Neil, I know you've been holding on in Venice. Don't go anywhere. People in Venice have a lot of patience. We got David in Canyon Country, Rashida in California. I'm going to get to all your calls, I promise. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number. 866-870-5752. You just heard me talk about And we are back on the Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. The phone number 866-870-KRLA. Don't worry, I'm going to read the Christmas Returns poem in just a few minutes. Before the last break, we were talking to my friend Kathleen, who was calling from Connecticut. She has a dog that she got from a backyard breeder having really tremendous separation anxiety issues. I think it's kind of a combination of separation anxiety and abandonment. It was probably like the puppy, Kathleen, never received any attention whatsoever prior to meeting you. Then you come into the picture and he gets all this attention. He gets the meals consistently fed the same time, gets a lot of love and a lot of hugging, a lot of petting. So when you leave, it's not so much the fear of you not coming back. It is so much the fear of you not coming back versus the fear of just being separated from you. What we need to do is build up the dog's confidence a little bit. This is something that is my forte. You know, for years, I would be going into places all across the country, working with dogs coming out of puppy mills and places like that. So number one, what I want you to do is really important. In the room where the dog spends a lot of time, I want you to have a lot of your articles of clothing in that room area. That's number one. Number two, when you leave the room, don't say goodbye. Just walk out of the room, walk back in 20 seconds or 30 seconds later. Don't say anything when you first come back either. Next time, make it maybe a little bit longer. Little by little, increase the amount of time. Again, not making a big deal out of leaving or coming back. Also, what you may want to try is finding one toy once the dog becomes comfortable with toys that you put down as soon as you leave, pick it up when you come back, walking in and out and in and out. What's happening right now is every time you leave, the dog just assumes you're not coming back because the last time he was taken away. Were there other puppies there when you bought him?
Kinds of breeds, and he had never been alone in his life. He was in a kennel with no people interaction.
That's my point. So once he got interaction with you, he established this incredible relationship. So when you leave, the last time he left someplace, he remembers that never coming back to maybe the other dogs who he was closer to or whatever. So your case with the abandonment issue is you just need to leave him. It's okay for him to cry for a second or two, but again, don't make a big deal. I know it's hard. You want to schmooze him and love him and hug him and kiss him. I want to do that too, but right now we have to build up his confidence a little bit at a time. When you're with him, can he walk? Does he walk on a leash and a harness at this point?
Yes, leash and a harness. I have done all that. I've gone. No. Listen to me. There's no such thing as trying. There's only progress in small steps. The dog is 6 months old now. The dog lived in hell for 3 months. So when people say to me, all right, well, I've tried this, I tried that, there's no such thing as trying. You build up that confidence a little bit at a time. Just like with people, it doesn't happen overnight. I don't know what this poor dog went through. I don't know if he was bullied by other dogs. I don't know exactly what type of food he got, what type of care he got, if he was a whiner there and people were telling him to shut up all the time. What we need to do right now, more important than any type of training, is we need to build up his confidence, build up his self-esteem, build up his self-image, and let him realize that every time that Kathleen leaves, Kathleen is going to come back. Also, what I would try, I don't know if there's other people in your family or if you have friends, what you may want to try is you walk out of the room, have them walk into the room, have them walk out, and you walk in. So the dog doesn't always associate just the fact that it's you that's coming in to see him. I think little by little, as you build up that confidence, the separation, the abandonment issues will dissipate, and he'll be a lot more confident. Also, some good basic training at this point. Not that I care whether the dog sits the first time or heels perfectly, but what training does, good, solid, positive training does, is it builds up the dog's confidence because he's hearing, good dog, good boy, what a great job you did. That's what I would be doing at this point. Let me tell you right off the bat. You don't have a problem dog. You have a dog with some issues. And I promise you, if you follow through on my advice, I'm going to send you a copy of my book as well. If you follow through on my advice and build up that confidence, there's a whole chapter in the book on that, build up that confidence little by little, you'll call me back in a few weeks and say, hey, Warren, the dog's driving me crazy. He's so well established, so well adjusted, but it's going to take some time and it's going to take some patience. To this day, my Willie, who was so abused when I adopted him. God, I'd love to get my hands on the people that had him before me, but was so abused 3-4 years after I've had him. There are still times where I can see a little apprehension come into his eyes. So it takes time and patience and a lot of hugging and a lot of kissing. Okay.
And
all
bless
right.
you,
Thank
bless
you
you.
so
And
much.
I'm so glad, Kathleen, that you're following through on this. And I'm so glad to see that you're going to take it to the point where it has to stop. I mean, just this week alone, I must have gotten 2 emails from people that bought dogs on Craigslist and had no idea what they wound up with. So, rescue a dog.
I've taught him he knows all his little tricks.
Great.
Sit, stay down, come off, heel place. He knows all this stuff.
But have some other people do it. Have some other people do it.
The other people, that's the key. I'll get other people to come in here.
Yeah, other people do it. Yeah. If you weren't, what part of Connecticut you in?
West Hartford.
I was just going to say, if you were down in Southport or Westport, I drive in to see you right by the Long Island Sound. I still do a lot of work. A lot of training in that area. By the way, it's going to turn out to be a super dog. Let me do this, Kathleen. I'm going to put you on hold. I'm going to have Stephen pick up. We're going to send you a copy of How to Get Your Dog to Do What You Want. And don't hesitate to give me a call back in a couple of weeks if we want to make some changes and we want to go in a little bit of a different direction. You know, my listeners are the absolute best. You know, they care. I think that's what's so important. I'm going to get to you, Neil. I'm going to get to you, David and Rashida. But they care. That is what's so important. And let me do this. Before I break, I don't want to run out of time because I do this every year. I want to read this poem to you. I have time, Alex. This is Christmas Returns. And by the way, if you go to my website, thepetshow.com, on the front page, you'll see Christmas Returns. These are literally poem stories that I've received over the last 35, 40 years from listeners just like you. Check it out. It'll put a smile on your face. But this one, maybe not. Listen to me carefully. Santa comes quietly long before dawn, while shops are still busy and lights are still on, while dinners are cooking and kitchens are warm and children count presents till open by morn. He slips past the trees and windows aglow through the gate to the backyard as icy winds blow, to find the pup he brought last year chained up in the snow. And kneeling he whispers, "Are you ready to go?" There are too many stops like this one tonight before the beginning of his regular flight. He leaves not a note or footprint in sight, just an unbuckled collar on a cold Christmas night. I get teared up every time I read that. It's such an incredible. Check that out and share it with your friends. It's so true, and that's why it's never a great idea to give a pet as a present unless it's adopted or rescued. That's a whole different story. But if you know someone that wants a dog or a cat, and it's the holidays, maybe the best gift under the tree would be a book, a leash, a collar, or if it's a good friend, a clean litter box. Not such a good friend, you may not be so clean. Anyway, true. Please remember that pets are not presents. They're part of the family and need to be treated that way. So go to my website, thepetshow.com. I want you to check out the Christmas Corner. I think you'll really enjoy it. Some really upbeat stuff there, some great photos that you people have sent me over the years. Hey, great time to give me a call. I do have a line or two open, which is pretty rare, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. I'm going to take a break. When we come back, Neil, you're going to be up next, then David, then Rashida. Again, let me just remind everyone that I have not done a remote broadcast in a long time. I don't think I was great the last time I did it, but I am now. Anyway, I want you to check out coming up on January 27th, Saturday, January 27th. I'll be there from 9 to 3 p.m. I'll be doing this show, my nationally syndicated show, as well as my Armed Forces radio show. I'll be doing it from Teresa's Country Feed and Pet in Tarzana. It's at 18601 West Oxnard Street. I'll give you more information as the weeks go by. I'll be there. The people from Wagmore Pets will be there with pet adoption. Lucy Pet there will be there with a free vaccination clinic provided. They'll also have their wave machine. Bring your dog down. We'll teach your dog how to surf right on the spot. It's an incredible day, so mark that date in your calendars, Saturday, January 27th. The phone number here, 866-870-KRLA. A quick break, then right back to the phone calls. I'm Warren Eckstein, and I'm going to do a commercial right now, aren't I? Yes, I am. All right, listen. And we are back on the Pet Show. I'm Warren. I love holiday music. Let me get right back to the phones. I want to get to as many calls as I can. Let's go to my friend Neil in Venice. Hi, Neil. How you doing?
Hey, hello, Mr. Warren Eckstein. You are, I think, qualified to be called doctor.
No.
Thank you for taking...
Warren, my mother would love you, but Warren is fine.
All right. Well, thank you for taking my call. I love your show, and my dog loves Lucy Pet Food.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that.
Too. Anyway, I'm calling about, it's two questions. One is that my dog Annie, she's a Chihuahua mix. She's 10 years old. And for a while, she's had like an ear twitch. Like every now and then, I'll see her favoring her left ear. She'll shake her head. Sometimes I touch it in that area. It's sensitive behind the ear. I had her to the vet. It's been a while, but I had her to the vet. They gave me some cleaning, ear cleansing things, which later on I bought some things over the counter, and I continue to use that. It seems to help, but it keeps happening.
Yeah, so well, first of all, if it's recurring like that, I would once again have a quick conversation with your vet. But let me tell you, I have one of my dogs with exactly the same type of situation. There's a product I use, okay? It's called Zymox, Z-Y-M-O-X, Z-Y-M-O-X. They have an ear cleaner. They have an ear cleaner, a cleanser, which actually cleans and soothes the dirty ears. For those people on YouTube, I'm showing it to you right now because I'm holding it up. So I use that as a cleanser, but then I also use Zymox enzymatic solution. And I've had incredible success over the years using these two products. Now, if it's recurring, of course, you want to speak with your veterinarian to make sure there's nothing horrible going on there. But if you've been to the vet and the vet's saying this is what you got to do, using Zymox ear cleanser and Zymox optic enzymatic solution may be the way to go. Those are the products I use. And by the way, you can get them from your veterinarian. I think you can actually get them on Amazon now as well. So that's the products I use. And one of my dogs, Molly, the same type of thing. Let me ask you a question. Your Chihuahua blended breed, are the ears up or the ears flop down?
They're up.
Okay, so I want you to make sure you clean them on a regular basis, okay? A lot of stuff going around. Listen, I spend a lot of time in Venice. I clean my ears when I get home from Venice sometimes as well. So I think that's what you need to do at this point.
I hear you.
But I would definitely check with your vet. But it's called Zymox, Z-Y-M-O-X. They have an ear cleanser, and they have also the optic.
And the enzymatic solution.
Yeah.
I wrote it down. Thank you very much for that. The other question is, this is Annie's sister is Alicia, and my daughter has her, and I'm calling for her. She lives in another place. She doesn't live, she's separate. But what happens with Alicia is, and I'll just give you this little input, is that she doesn't get walked on a regular basis, okay? But they have a yard. They put her out in the yard to let her do her business. And when she comes back in, even if she does her duty in the yard, she'll come back in and she'll go into the kids' bedroom in a certain area and poop.
How old are the kids?
Oh, the kids are 4 and 2.
Okay, so I don't know how old kids are, but are the kids, I hate to say this, are the kids housebroken?
The children?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you mean housebroken?
Well, I mean, I don't know how old children are in terms of when they become. I don't want to say housebroken. They're not using litter boxes.
Oh, you mean wearing diapers and that?
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean.
Well, the one is the older one is sort of basically broken from diapers.
Okay, but the scent. The point I'm making is the scent is still. Yeah, the scent is there. So that's not very uncommon. What I would do is twofold. Number one is I would have adapted the dog to that scent beforehand. But right now, what I would do is I would spend as much time as you could on the floor in that room with the dog. The more time you spend there, give him his toys there, give him his treats there. Put a bed there for him. The more time he spends in that room, the less apt he's going to want to go in that room. It's a territory where he hangs out. Right now, he's going in there, picks up the scent of the child, assuming that it's okay. And it's not okay, obviously, but that's the resolution. Also, make sure you clean the floor thoroughly. The problem is most people, when they have a dog or cat with accidents, they run to the cupboard, they get Mr. Clean, Top Job, whatever products there are. 90% of them contain ammonia. We might as well pee on the floor because we're putting down the same odor we're trying to lift. Get yourself a good enzymatic pet stain and odor remover. Clean up the floor properly. Spend more time on the floor with the dog. At that point, treats, toys, a bed, the more time you spend with him in there, the less apt he is to go. That ought to resolve the problem for you.
Okay, so you think even like putting the dog's bed there? Because she had moved him into the kitchen.
Yeah, see, moving the dog around is just going to want the dog to claim more territory where he previously went. And that's a mistake people make. Rather than resolve the issue, they avoid it. Well, the dog's going in that room, I'll put him in a different room. But when he gets into that room, the first thing he's going to do is poop.
Okay. Okay.
You got it? You got it now?
Bring that advice to her.
All right, Neil.
Thank you very much.
Neil, don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. I'm trying to think of what I want to send you. Neil, don't go anywhere. What am I going to send Neil? You know what? You live in Venice. You can do me a lot of good. I'm putting you on hold. I'm sending you a T-shirt that says none of my friends walk upright. By the way, none of them do. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number. We can take a break. When we come back with Sheeta, you'll be next. Then David. Then we got Melissa calling in Glendale. We got Michael calling from Torrance. Chris calling from L.A. I'll try to get to all your calls. The phones are jammed. But if not, as soon as I get off the air here, I do my national, Canadian, international, Radio America, Armed Forces radio show. I'll give you that number. It starts as soon as I get off the air here. It's the same type of show. I give away the same type of gifts, except the calls come from around the country, actually around the world. So anyway, I'll get to your calls if I don't get to them here. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number, 866-870-5752. And the question of the day, I'm surprised nobody responded. Does your dog or cat take your spot as soon as you get up? I want to know. Give me a call. 866-870-KRLA. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show. And we are back on the Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number. The phones are jammed. Let me go right and take you guys in the order I can. Let's go to Rashida first. Hey, Rashida. Welcome to the show.
Warren.
Yeah, hi, Rashida. How are you?
I am amazed that I'm finding you. I grew up with you in New York. I'm from New York, but I'm visiting my daughter. They've all moved out. They said they're tired of the snow. So I have two daughters that live out here, one in L.A., one in Irvine. So I'm looking at YouTube, and you pop up. I was like, Warren Eckstein. When you were on WABC in New York every Saturday.
No. Wait. No, I was on WOR in New York.
Oh, okay. That's right. WOR. It was on the AM channel.
Yeah, that's what I was. I was on WR in New York. Yeah.
Oh my God! And your mom, they was talking about your mom. And when I came in, your first wife had just transitioned. You had just remarried. So, and all the dogs and everything, you assisted her so much. I am just so excited to see you and see you still doing the hugs and kisses. I now have a grandson who's 24, who's a dog trainer out here in L.A., and I'm always telling him about you. I'm going to send him your YouTube channel, and he's excellent. He has a beautiful training and boarding whole setup, and he loves animals since he was 3 years old.
Well, he has a good mom. I can tell you that.
Well, with my 5 cats and 4 dogs, you assisted me tremendously. There are no words. Thank you, seem so inept. I am so grateful for your contribution to humanity and our 4-legged baby. The first time I heard about the Rainbow Bridge was from you. The first time I heard about dogs and cats loving hugs more so than physical treats was you. And I just, all of those wonderful jewels that you dropped on us, I share with everybody with envy. So this is the first time, because when you went off, I knew you had an internet still, but I wasn't into the internet and stuff at that time. So I said, there's a guy named Warren Eckstein. Look him up. He's like the most. He's the first.
Well, now Rashida, you can find me everywhere, Rashida. You can find me everywhere. So I don't have a whole lot of time. So can I send you a copy of? Can I send you a copy of my book or a T-shirt? What would you prefer?
Say again.
I'm going to send you either a copy of my book or a T-shirt. What would you prefer?
But okay, give me the T-shirt, because you know I got how to get your dog to do what you like. I got how to get your cats to do what you like. I have all your books from 25. For 25 years, I listened. I haven't been in touch with you for over 10 or 15 years. I'm saying at the time this becomes.
Rashida, you're making me blush, Rashida. Cut it out now. You're making me blush. Listen, I love when listeners have been with me for so long.
You are ageless. You are an ageless wonder. You know why? Because the love keeps you ageless. And the love in your heart that you still have for humanity and our companions is amazing. You are
Rashida, listen, I got to move on, but bless you so much for calling. I want you to have the greatest holiday you can. Keep in touch with me. You can follow me on my Facebook. It's facebook.com/Warren Pet Talk. Facebook.com/Warren Pet Talk. Putting you on hold.
Let me join Facebook, because I'm not on Facebook.
Well, now you got to join. I post a lot of stuff on Facebook. So you got to join. I'm putting you on hold. We're going to send you a T-shirt. Oh God, my head's going to explode. Bring what down a notch, Alex? My head down a notch. I love hearing it. I wrote you that letter before. I've been doing this for so many years. And the greatest honor that I have, the greatest pleasure for me, is hearing from people who I've helped or worked with their animals years and years and years ago. And you know what? I'm not afraid to talk to any of them, because I always did what I did best. I don't get along great with a lot of people. But my love for animals, my empathy for animals, my trying to make this world a better place for all the animals, has gotten me in jail, has gotten me arrested, has gotten me in trouble, has gotten me fired, has gotten me kicked out. But you know what? When I put my head on the pillow at night and I think about all the animals we've saved together, not me, my listeners and me together, the thousands and thousands and thousands of dogs and cats and other animals that we've saved either via my Hugs and Kisses Animal Fund or whatever, you guys are truly, truly what moves me along. And without you, I can never accomplish some of the amazing things we have accomplished. We've accomplished it together, and we'll continue to accomplish it. We're starting a whole other year. I've been on the air with you guys now, I think 43 years, maybe 44, I don't know. And according to my wife, Denise, she says, Warren, you got another 43 in you. So we're going to keep it going for that long as well. Let me do this. Let me take a quick break. We come back, we'll try to get to some more calls. If for some reason, David, Melissa, Michael, and Chris, I don't get to your calls, write this number down. By the way, Chris is calling in L.A. and wants to know about his dog with DM. And DM is kind of like it's degenerative myelopathy. And I had a dog with it's not the greatest thing to have, but I use some cold laser therapy and it helped. But if I don't get to your calls, write this number down. I'll take your calls on my network show, 877-725-8255. I'll give that number out again. Let me take a quick break. We'll try to get to some calls before the end, and then we'll see if we can take your call here, or I'll give you that number again. But right now, listen, if you're not giving your dogs my own Hugs and Kisses vitamin mineral supplement treats, I don't know. My favorite song, Dominic the Donkey. Hey, in case I don't have time to get to your calls, and it doesn't look like I'm going to have time, write this number down. You can start calling around 1 o'clock. Be really patient. Goes to my national show based in Washington, D.C. Write this number down. It's the same type of show. I give away the same type of prizes. 877-725-8255. 877-725-8255. You can start calling at 1 o'clock. David, you can be up there. Melissa, Michael. Of course, I don't want to rush you, so write that number down again, 877-725-8255. So let me talk about what I was going to talk about earlier, and I'm surprised I didn't get more response. Dogs and cats sometimes like to take your spot. Taking your spot is a sign of affection. Dogs and cats really love and enjoy the scent and warmth of their guardians. When your dog or cat often steals your spot, this is because they enjoy the scent you leave behind. More so, your spot represents warmth and comfort for them. They instinctively know that any spot you've been in is likely familiar and safe for them as well. And, you know, instinctively, dogs going back years and years ago, I'm not a big pack theory type guy, but years and years ago, dogs had the pack mentality, not so much cats, but dogs did. So they want to kind of be where the scent of the other animals are as well. So it's very, very common. I know that if I get up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom, or if I'm sitting on the couch watching reruns of Seinfeld and I get up to get myself some iced tea, Molly and Willie jump on my spot right away. And, you know, it's kind of like easy. I can say, hey, come on, guys, you're in my spot. Move, please. But you know what? If they're that comfortable there, why would I move them? I would just make them as comfortable as I possibly can. So that's the reason that your dogs and cats might jump into your bed when you get out in the middle of the night, or jump into a chair that you're sitting in. That's because your scent is there. It's warmth, and it represents a comfort. It represents freedom to them as well. So I'm not going to have time to take a call. So write that number down, 877-725-8255. But here's the deal. I want you to, follow me on my social media, facebook.com/Warren Pet Talk, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I do a lot of work on YouTube. I put a lot of time and effort into YouTube, putting up a lot of pet tips there. So check out youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. Subscribe, it's free, and you'll enjoy it. There's some, pet tips I put up there. There's also old videos of me on The Tonight Show and Mickey Mouse Club and other stuff as well. So check out youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. And let me take this opportunity to wish everyone out there, including my engineer Alex and Steve, who's screening today, a very, very safe, happy, healthy Christmas. A Merry Christmas to you all. What now? And Suzette, of course, Suzette. Everyone knows Suzette if you're listening. And by the way, you might think I won't be here, but next Saturday, I will be live right here on The Pet Show. We'll talk about the Christmas gifts. We'll find out what you guys got your pets. So next Saturday, I will be live. But in the meantime, check out youtube.com/Warren Eckstein or facebook.com/Warren Pet Talk. Again, that number is 877-725-8255. I'm Warren Eckstein, and thank you for listening to The Pet Show.